mental editing and a lot of rewriting and reworking. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not going to just take your money to proof it, which I can do, certainly, but I really wouldn't feel very good about it. So I have talked with authors about ways that I think their writing can be better, whether it's more clear. Sometimes people use too many words and they can say it more briefly, especially when we're talking about online work. Brevity and clarity are key. People don't want to hang out too long. Yeah, that's right. 7 networking, isn't it? Oh, great. And you're following Shelley. That's awesome. So connect with each other. Connect with me if you're interested. Um, Keep writing. I mean, no matter what you do for writing, keep writing. It does get easier. And I'm not a great writer, but I'm a pretty good writer. And it's because I enjoy it. And I really keep learning all the time. I learn from people that I work with. I learn from all the exposure I have to such great material. I work with a lot of energy healers. Like I mentioned, business coaches. Maybe I didn't say that, but when I work on training materials, it's often for business coaches. It's very exciting. It's a lot of fun. It's great connections. I work with a lot of people in social media. So I get all this great access to wonderful material, wonderful people who are really doing good, who are really helping people with their businesses and helping people uncover what their gifts are and then sharing them with others. And I mean, really, there's kind of nothing better than that. So I love to work with people's words. I love to have them get something back and feel good about it. Yeah, periscoping is great for connecting. So I'm really happy that I just went ahead and pressed play and that you guys were here to interact with it. It really does mean a lot to me. So thank you so much for tuning in or watching on the replay. I hope you'll stay tuned. If you're not following me, I hope you will swipe to the side and do that. Yeah, Periscope is a little bit addicting. That's why I was stuck in the watching mode and not the doing. And thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm happy to do it. And yeah, I imagine it gets easier, Shelley. I've watched you a few times, Shelley. You're pretty comfortable, so that's awesome. You all have been encouraging to me, and I encourage you to do the same. And I'm happy to do a private one if someone wants to invite me to watch a private one. I was going to do that because they suggest that's a great way to get started, but it was too hard to connect and get somebody to be ready when I was ready. So what the heck? It's late, 6 o'clock or so, maybe later in central New York. And although I thought I'd start this at the beginning of the day, I realized, hey, there's no better time than the present, right? So here I was recently a preschool teacher and director, and I left that position to do my writing full time. And yesterday I proofread a screenplay for a feature film. And now we're working on an itinerary for me to do a writing workshop in Africa, if you're just tuned in, with Capture Africa Tours. So please, if you're interested at all in going to Africa with a wonderful company, CaptureAfricaTours.com. Oh, a New Yorker. Hi, and a preschool teacher. Yep, I'm a Long Island girl. Oh, Gail, so nice of you to join. So this is my first broadcast. I do have a tip. I'm watching a lot of people. Bonnie Frank is awesome. Oh, Gail, love you too. You're awesome. Bonnie L. Frank and Gail and I were just on her broadcast. She broadcasts 3 to 7 times a day. She is awesome. She is encouraging. She is wonderful. And please follow her if you're not. Oh, you're so nice. Bonnie L. Frank. And you'll get a lot of tips. So anyway, one of the tips, she's my tips about the index cards. So if you're not following me already, and she puts them up here so you can see them. We're in Long Island. I'm from Deer Park, Long Island. I went to school in Huntington. Oh, look at that. There we go, debcoleman.com. So write your things down that you want to share with people on index cards. Oh, thank you for all the hearts. Like this, here's another one. This is my Twitter handle. Yeah, Bonnie is awesome, 7 Networking. Look, I'm not doing it right. @debcoleman.writing. Okay. I don't know if it was Bonnie. It might have been some of the others. There are tons of great people on Periscope. Follow Bonnie, and she will tell you about the other ones, or just look for their broadcasts. But another tip was use your title, of course, which hopefully mine showed up as writing or pre-writing tips. Don't be afraid to hashtag in there to help people find it. And do not write, hey, this is my first broadcast. It's a test. So I thought that was a good tip. They said that if you do that or you're too vague or don't have a title, you're going to get some like bullies in your group, and that's definitely no fun when you're starting out. And we certainly could block them, but hopefully don't even want to have to deal with that. So, oh, you're in Bonnie's group. That's awesome. She's teaching a course right now too. I really wanted to do, but I'm kind of a little bogged down with a lot of projects. So, what I want you to encourage you to do is, if you're not broadcasting, please do. I'm going to go back. Hopefully, we're going to save this replay if I figure out how to do that, and look to see all of you and follow you. Thank you so much for the hearts. Stay tuned. So we talked about some pre-writing tips. Watch the replay if you missed it. Basically, it's about mindset. It's about controlling the environment as much as you can. Your time, your interruptions, where you are, how you feel. Make those the most optimal conditions before you sit down to write. Those are the things that are in our control. Whether we get inspired, that might not always be in our control, but we can make it the best conditions for that to happen. So be sure that you do that. Keep writing. It does get easier. Thanks for joining. Oh, you're so nice, Gail. Thank you so much. I do enjoy it, and don't edit your work when you're writing. Don't be a critic while you're getting the words flowing. It really makes you start and stop and really lose your train of thought and lose your flow and sometimes create writer's block. So don't worry about how it sounds. Don't worry if that's the best phrase to use. You can go back later and fix it. There's plenty of time for that later. But if you don't get something on the page, you have nothing to edit. So you really want to start with that. So make the conditions the best you can and play around with those conditions. You would not believe the things that could affect you. Your lighting, how warm you are. You don't want to be too warm that you're going to nod off. Thank you for thinking that's good advice. I appreciate that. You don't want to be too warm, too cold, too dark lighting, too bright. Make sure you're in comfortable clothing. I mean, just think of everything you can think of. I like to get in comfortable clothing, get a cup of tea, grab my laptop, and go sit somewhere like either in the sun or just somewhere really that makes you feel good, and then do some of the mindset exercises. Thank you for inviting followers. I appreciate it. I plan for this to be short, but I'll hang on if you guys have questions, and we can keep chatting. And I'll just review some of the things that we talked about already. So keep writing. Think about your purpose in writing, who you want to reach, why you want to reach them, and what you want them to do. Thanks for inviting followers, Gail. I appreciate it. What you want them to do, because that's kind of your call to action, and you want to stay focused on that. Hi, Jill. I saw that you were under the weather recently and doing some periscoping, watching, and I think broadcasting yourself, so I'll have to get caught up on those. Thanks for joining. Hi, that's so nice. So anyway, I'm so glad I did this, and I hope that I can help with your writing by giving you some tips or maybe inspiration. It's really good to get involved in writing groups or be around people who help lift you up. Thanks for joining, Danielle. There's plenty. There isn't a need for competition, really, because there's plenty for everyone. Am I going to the Periscope conference in New York City? I wish I was, and I'm from Long Island, and that would be easy, but I actually think I have another workshop in Rhode Island then that is really important to me, too. But I would love to go to the Periscope. I think it's a summit. And I heard today that it's actually full. It's booked. Is that true? 800 people, they said. So I'm not surprised. It's really up and coming. So get in there, watch the people who know what they're talking about with doing a Periscope, and go ahead and do it. If you hate it, you can just erase it after. Or if you're like me and you're not sure how to save it, maybe it will just get erased by itself. So yeah, keep writing. Make sure you make the conditions as good as you can. Make sure you can edit yourself later after all the writing is done. You can ask someone in your home to edit for you. Or if I'm getting ahead of myself because I was going to save this for another one, but if you're already good at writing and getting the words flowing and you want to work on the editing, there are a lot of tips about how to do that. And one of which is leave some space between the time you write and the time you edit. Some of us are so anxious to just get it done, especially if we don't like to write a blog. We want to write it, we want to fix it, we want to press send and get it out to our list. Well, you know what? That's really not the best way to do it. If that's what you're doing and it works for you, good for you. But for most of us, we're going to send out a lot of things with errors. And when there are errors that are grammatical or typographical, or just, I don't know, not the best writing, we can be leaving money on the table. That's kind of why I do what I do. If you invest in working with me or anyone else, or just invest in getting your own writing to be better, it's going to bring you more money. Stephen King said 6 weeks between drafting and revisiting. I have heard that, and that's true. So for him, he must really need that long. Some of us don't have that luxury to do that, but as long as you can, the better, at least overnight. If you can, leave your work, look at it again with fresh eyes. You'll be amazed at what you see. Sometimes it's going to be great. You're going to say, wow, I was really kind of brilliant yesterday. I was really on. Look, this is awesome. And sometimes you're going to say, what the heck am I trying to say here? It's not clear at all, or look at the typos. And that's why we edit later. It's much easier with fresh eyes. There are plenty more tips where that came from. They're not all my own. This is just things we gain from listening to others too. A gap allows the brain to get out of a groove, lets you take a fresh look. Absolutely. Absolutely, that is so true. And other tips are if you're using your computer to print it out and read it aloud. So you definitely want to read it aloud, but it's also good to print it out, and then you're using your eyes differently. And your auditory, if you're an auditory learner, you're going to hear something maybe that you don't see by reading the words. And you can also change the font. So select all, change the entire font so it looks different, and you kind of trick your brain into thinking it's something new. So there's a lot of little strategies that you can use yourself if you're not, wanting or needing to hire an editor, but need to do your own editing work. You just need to give yourself that space. You need to come back with fresh eyes. Some people read it backwards, print and correct on the paper. Yeah, I just did a proofread a screenplay that way, and I really don't normally do that. I track changes on the computer, but it was kind of fun. I sat outdoors, and it was windy like today, and had a red pen, which I don't really love the red, but I really wanted them to be able to see it, and literally just went through and really enjoyed working with hard copy and working with pen and paper. Sometimes we get away from that and we get a little bit too techy, so mix it up. If your writing's not flowing at the computer, get a pad and paper out, a pen and a pad, and see if that makes it different. We can play a lot of tricks with ourselves to make it easier, and just be sure to keep doing it and read um, what. Find good writers and read what they're writing. It's very inspirational, and it reminds you that you can do the same thing and you can improve. And they weren't always great writers, probably. People. It's a muscle that gets developed. I love editing on paper. Yeah, I know. I may do more of it, but I don't like to waste paper, so I just tend to do it on the computer. So, oh, Gail, you're back. Maybe you had problems with. Sometimes the signal drops. I hope this is a good signal for all of you. It's been holding up for me, so I'm glad. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to follow me or you tuned in late, please find me here. Let's see if I can get this right. Yep, Deb Coleman Writing. Oops, that's my Twitter handle. And that's also where you find me on Periscope. And please follow me if you're not already. I would love to still stay connected and to follow you back. That's my website. It's a craft that can be learned, and it's not all about natural talent. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. So if you think you're not a great writer, or you don't feel like you have the how-tos, it can absolutely be developed and nurtured, and that's what I hope to do too when I work with people. A lot of times someone asks what authors want. They often want to know, what do you think? Not how long did it take you to edit it, and are you finished, and can I have it back? But what did you think when you read it? So remember that when you're working with people, no matter how big they are, they want to know what you think, and it's important to take a couple of minutes. Sometimes I get hung up on meeting their deadline and getting it done even more quickly. I forget to say, you know what, by the way, I loved what you said, or you really have a great way of writing, or it's really interesting. Those are the kinds of things that keep us going. So keep writing. Stay tuned. There will be more. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all the hearts. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm going to look for you. So if you're not periscoping, I'm going to come and find you and encourage you to do it too. Have a great night. Stay tuned. I'll probably try to jump in again tomorrow. Bye-bye. Thanks.